Um, Hi, everybody. This is Penny Hill. I am the director of our education program here at TIPCO, and we're really excited to be able to spend these 90 minutes with you and teaching you all about Spotfire. So just a quick thing, Spotfire is, one of the top visualization tools, and in fact, very interesting. It's being used now with like Pfizer, Moderna, Roche, for the development and actually distribution of the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. So it's really in a lot of places that you probably don't even know that people are using to really manage their whole production of a lot of stuff. Um, so you're very fortunate. I have Studi on the phone. She's going to be taking you through Spotfire. What I do ask is that if you have any questions, that you can put them in the chat. We have a lot of material all the way up to the 90 minutes, so we probably won't have any time for questions. So if you have a question along the way, I have Ramraj here that can answer any question you probably have. Studi, though, is our senior person on Spotfire. She's been teaching for over 6 years. She helped develop this course itself. So you're really fortunate to be able to have her. So I'm going to pass it over now to Studi.
Thank you, Penny. And hello, everyone. And good evening to you all. I suppose it's evening there right now. So without wasting any further time, I think we'll get started with the training material because we have a lot to cover in a really less time. So I hope I'm audible enough right now, or do I need to raise the volume or something?
I think you're good.
I think you're good.
Okay. Okay. So I'll turn off the video to keep the focus on the training material and start with the training. So as Penny has already introduced, I am Studi Jain, and I'm here to provide the TIPCO Spotfire session. So to get started with, first we'll see the objectives of this particular training session. In this training session, we are going to see the introduction to TIPCO Spotfire Analyst tool and the entire Spotfire Analyst environment. We'll see the details of the user interface, the UI provided by TIPCO for Spotfire. We'll understand how we can load data into Spotfire from different resources and how we can use transformation to correct the data that has been loaded into Spotfire while loading it and after loading it. So there are numerous number of things we can do, and everything is not covered in this training session. We'll also see how we can build basic visualizations in Spotfire, like table visualization, bar chart, line chart, and scatter plot. Then we'll understand the use of basic interactive features provided by Spotfire, which are really important, that is marking and filtering. There is a lot we can do with marking and filtering, but we'll only cover the basics of how we can mark data and how we can filter data. But to go in depth of understanding everything about this, you might have to go for an advanced course. Okay, we'll understand how we can export data from Spotfire, because we manipulate data in numerous ways in Spotfire. And if we have manipulated the data and we want to reuse it somewhere else, so what we can do, we can export that particular data, and how we can export visualizations in Spotfire that we have created in different formats like PDF, PNG, or PPT for any presentations. We'll also understand the different saving options, how we can save the analysis file that we have created in Spotfire, and how the data that is used to create that analysis can be stored with Spotfire. So TIPCO Spotfire is an analytics platform which is used to quickly visualize data and get deeper insights. It provides an AI-powered, search-driven experience with built-in data wrangling and advanced analytics techniques. Spotfire environment can be set up on-premise or on cloud, or can be availed on cloud, and it comprises of these different elements. Okay, so Spotfire architecture or Spotfire environment, the central component of an architecture or Spotfire environment is Spotfire server. Spotfire server can be established or installed on premise, or it can be availed on cloud. All the different clients, we'll see in the next slide what are installed clients and web clients. So all the different clients, that is analyst client, Spotfire analyst client, communicate with Spotfire to avail different services that are installed in Spotfire server, that is web player services, automation services, and test services. Also, the clients communicate with Spotfire server if they want to have access to Spotfire database, the elements or artifacts that are stored in Spotfire database. Spotfire database is also referred to as Spotfire library. So, and you can store various elements in Spotfire database or library, like data files or Spotfire analysis files. We have something called as information links, which is again an advanced topic. You can use user informations are saved when you, which are used to log in to Spotfire analyst to connect to the server. They have different licenses, so these in all these kinds of informations are all saved in Spotfire database. Now, if you are connected to Spotfire server, you have these facilities which you can avail. You can have access control. Access control is provided because different users are created to log into Spotfire server with different licenses. These licenses are provided by Spotfire administrator. Okay, so these are not provided by TIBCO, but the Spotfire administrator provides licenses to different users through which they have permissions of performing certain tasks. Okay, so you can have access control if you are logging in through Spotfire server. You can have data storage. You can access the stored data in Spotfire database. You can connect to external systems, and you can also access Spotfire web clients. Okay, the optional extensions that you can have with Spotfire server based on your requirement are TIBCO Spotfire automation services and TIBCO Spotfire statistics services. So in the previous slide, we have seen that we have two types of clients, installed clients and web clients, which connect to Spotfire server. So Spotfire desktop and Spotfire analyst are installed clients. Installed clients means they need to be installed in your machine so that you can work on it. Then you have something called a Spotfire web client. Spotfire web client requires no installation. You can access Spotfire web client using simply a web browser and the URL to your server. Okay, so Spotfire desktop. Spotfire desktop is basically a standalone client. When we say standalone, it means there is no connectivity between Spotfire desktop to Spotfire server. You cannot connect to Spotfire server. And if you're not able to connect to Spotfire server, that means you can only work with local data. Excel files, TXT files, CSV files, all these files that are stored in your local machine. Okay. Now, Spotfire Analyst is a full enterprise version of Spotfire, which is the focus of this training. Spotfire Analyst connects to Spotfire server. You can or cannot connect, that we have different modes of connecting, we will see in the next slide. Okay, so but Spotfire Analyst has to connect at least once to Spotfire server, and using Spotfire Analyst tool instead of desktop, these are the different facilities that you have. You can share your analysis that you have created with your colleagues more easily as compared to desktop. When you're working with desktop, you create an analysis in desktop, you have to provide your analysis file, that .dxp file, to your colleagues through via mail or shared drive or something like that. But when you are working with Spotfire Analyst, what you can do, you can simply save your analysis file in the Spotfire library, and the users can pick your analysis file directly from there. So you can share and collaborate with your colleagues over the same analysis file. You can have external database connectivity, access control, and you can work with library stored data. Okay, so next is Spotfire web clients. As mentioned, these require no installation. You just need a web browser, any web browser, and the server URL to which you want to connect to work with Spotfire web clients. Now in Spotfire web clients, we have two different types: consumer web client and business author web client. Consumer web client and business author web clients are basically two types of licenses that are provided to these clients. The difference in these licenses depends upon what are the features that a user can make use of. A consumer user is usually a consumer, you just provide an analysis and they can only view. They cannot perform analysis over your analysis file that you have shared. Whereas a business author can perform, depending upon what licenses you have provided or the administrator has provided, on your analysis, like adding a new page or loading a new table or creating a new analysis or filter or mark, etc. It depends upon what are the permissions or licenses that are provided to that particular business author user. They can perform the features. Okay. So next is Spotfire Analyst Client. So Spotfire Analyst Client is a Windows-based application. Okay, you can connect to Spotfire Analyst Client in two modes, or you can launch Spotfire Analyst Client in two modes: online mode and offline mode. Online mode means you have your user credentials and you can connect to the analyst client through those user credentials. Let's go to the tool, I'll show you. Okay, so when you open any Spotfire Analyst Client tool like this, okay, this is the window that you see, the login dialog. Okay, now when you provide your username and password for the respective Spotfire server URL, okay, that means this is online mode. You are connected to Spotfire server while working on Spotfire Analyst tool. Okay, let's say if I'm connecting to it, providing the credentials. This is online mode. So in the online mode, you have certain facilities like you can connect to the server, you can access the library items, you can save your analysis files or data files, etc., directly to the library, all these things. The second option is working offline or offline mode. So for working offline mode, what you have to do, instead of providing the credentials, what you have to do, just click on work offline. So right now, this particular analyst client instance will not be connected to the server. Okay, so we'll just see a small difference in this. So this instance right now is connected to Spotfire server, and hence this option, browse the library, where you can access the Spotfire library or Spotfire database artifacts, is available to you. But here where you're not connected, where you're working offline, you can see the browser library option is disabled right now. Okay, there are similar things that you can do when you're, where you can find the difference when you're working with online and offline mode. So you have to at least connect once, to the server, Spotfire server, respective Spotfire server, to work in with offline mode as well. Okay, so the benefits that we have seen with online mode, you can access server library, you can get software updates directly from the server which are pushed by the Spotfire administrator, you can access information links, you can connect to multiple servers using a Spotfire analyst client, but you can only connect to one server at a time. So you have to log out of one server to connect to a different server. How you can do that? When you are trying to log in, here we have seen, right now I only have one server, which is in the local machine itself. So if you have more than one servers, just click on manage server, and here you can add the URL for your server, the address, the URL. Okay, so you can just do that, and you will have multiple servers in your list, and that you can access from this drop down. So the server that you want to connect to, just click on it, provide the user credentials, to log into that particular server, and then click on login. Okay, so that's online mode, and then offline mode is simply where you're not connected to the server, so you can only work with local stored data. It is a little convenient on the go. When you're working with locally stored data, you do not need constant connectivity with Spotfire server in this. Okay, so next is directly the UI. So we'll directly go to the tool and see. Okay, so this is the Spotfire user interface. Here you can see on the top left corner, we have the different menus. When you click on these, you have a numerous number of options available to create your analysis, manipulate your analysis in the way that you desire. Okay, on the right side, you can see you have certain options. The first option is the find feature, which you can use to work with natural language query. We'll see after a few moments what is natural language query. Okay, then you have the collaboration feature where you can write a comment over an analysis, and your colleague who is accessing the same analysis file can view it and comment back on it. Okay, shortcut to bookmarks, filters, settings for properties, notifications, and using this drop down, you can change the view of your analysis, whether it's viewing or editing. Right now, I can perform a lot of operations right now because it is in editing mode. Okay, so you can, if we change it to viewing, we cannot see, you cannot add pages, and the authoring bar is also not visible. So it's like how a consumer can see, someone who is just viewing your analysis file. Okay, then on the left side here, this white area is called as authoring bar. Okay, here you can see in authoring bar we have 5 different flyouts. The first is files and data flyout. Files and data flyout is used to import data or open data or analysis files from different resources. You have recommended section, where recently opened data files or analysis files are displayed. You have connect to, using which you can connect to any of the database connectors that are supported by Spotfire. Then browse local file. Using this option, you can browse all the local analysis files or data files that are stored in your machine. Then you have other option, using which you can paste data from clipboard, manage data connections, information designer, all these things. And then browse the library option, where you can access the Spotfire database artifacts. Next is data in analysis flyout. Data in analysis flyout displays all the data tables that are loaded into Spotfire. You can view the data table or change the data table using this drop down. Okay, it lists and categorizes all the columns in that particular data table into these categories: numbers, time, location, categories, and identifiers. So numbers are all continuous columns, time is date and time, Location is any categorical or string column which has country, city, state name, anything. So Spotfire recognizes that based on the row values and categorizes it as a location. Then you have categories. Any string columns or categorical columns are categorized under categories. And then identifiers. Any ID column that you have in your data table will be identified as identifiers. Okay. Next is visualization types flyout. This flyout is used to insert insert a visualization in Spotfire. All the visualizations that are inbuilt supported by Spotfire are listed here. And when you create new visualizations, you can pin those visualizations, custom visualizations, in this visualization types flyout. Okay, that is an advanced topic. You will be seeing it in advanced courses. Next is FX Analytic Tools flyout. This particular flyout lists all the advanced analytics or predictive analytics features that are provided, or tools that are provided by Spotfire, like classification modeling, data relationship tools, hierarchical clustering, k-means clustering, line similarity, regression modeling, all of these. And if you create new data functions or models in Spotfire using different languages like TER or Python, then you can pin those, you can save those in the library and pin those in this FX Analytic flyouts. Okay. Next is Data Canvas flyout. This particular flyout demonstrates or displays, an overall view of your data tables. Right now you can see only one data table has been added. All the data tables are added separately. You can just scroll to left and right to view the data tables. But if you have performed any transformation or joining over these data tables, everything will be visible here. So you just have to click on the data table name, like here, order details sheet 1. You will be able to see if any kind of transformation has been applied to this particular data table. Everything will be listed here. So the data connected to this particular data table is here, and in the information tab you can see from the information about this particular data table. Oh, sorry. Okay, so you have to click on the left icon to view the information related to that particular data table, the source, the type, the location, worksheet, etc., etc. Okay. Then when we open any analysis file, this is called as a Spotfire document. In one Spotfire document, you can have multiple pages like these. You can add more pages using this plus icon. Okay, you can delete the pages using the cross icon. And on the right of the pages, you will be able to see this is the summary bar. This bar displays the total number of rows that a data table has, the current data table. Let's say if we change the data table or the page, you can see now the current focus is on this particular table, that is order details. So this has 2000 rows. Okay, no rows are marked right now, so 0 marked. There are 15 columns in this data table and the table name. Okay, now let's say if we are marking some few data, now you can see 29 rows have been marked. It displays. Now if we are performing, let's say, any kind of filtering over this, okay, now here you can see 991 of 2000 rows are displaying. So this shows how many data has been filtered out. Okay, so this is basically the UI. Okay, there is one more thing actually. This. So every visualization has a legend on the right of it. Every visualization, each visualization has its own legend on the right of the visualization. It is placed on the right of the visualization. This particular area is called as legend. It displays different kind of information that you can view here. So you can display the title, you can display the description of the visualization, the data limiting, you can display the data table that has been used, the marking that has been used. Uh, you can display different information about this particular visualization in the legend area. You can use this legend area to change the different elements or the parameters, like change the marking, change the data table, change the variables like color by, size by, all these, whatever the visualization supports. Okay, so this is basically the Spotfire UI. Next is loading data into Spotfire. Okay, now importing data, you can import data into Spotfire either from local files, locally stored data, or from external data systems. So we have already seen, if you want to load data or import data which is stored locally, you can use the option browse local file. Now, if you want to import data from external database systems, you can use either browse the library option, or you can use connect to. Connect to, as we have already seen, provides a list of different connectors which you can use based on your organization's database. You can use the connector to connect to that particular database. Okay, when you are using browse the library option, the supported database drivers are MySQL, Oracle, and Oracle. Okay, and you can see the supported data types for locally stored data includes, first is Spotfire analysis file, which is saved in the form of .dxp. Then you have script definition function, Excel files, comma separated files, text files, and many others. Okay, so let's now, first what we are going to see, importing data from uh, local stored data, basically. Okay, that means Excel file, CSV file, TXT file. So when we import data from all these local files, we are provided, Spotfire provides us with something called as import settings dialog. Okay, let's go to the tool and see how what happens exactly. Okay, go to files and data flyout, click on browse local file to open any local file. Okay, first we'll open a text document. Now when we are trying to open a text document in Spotfire, here you can see an import settings dialog has been provided for this text file. Okay, now there are numerous things, numerous options that you can use to manipulate or correct the data which is importing into Spotfire. The first is separator character. For CSV file, TXT file, it is important to have the right separator character configured to read the table in the table format, in the tabular format, like we are seeing right now. So Spotfire has, by automatically, what it has done, it has picked up the right separator character, which is star. If it is not, what will happen? Let's say we change it and click on refresh. It will be one column with all the values, which means the separated character is not correct. Okay, so if separated character is not any of these tab, comma, semicolon, space, you can just click on other and provide the separated character manually here. Okay, so you can select the separated character. This is the data preview, which displays your data table, which is loading, which is going to be loaded into Spotfire. Okay, here you can see all the column names, the type of the column names, and you can define the row values. So you have four different options for that, using which you can change the type of the row. Like the first one is name row, which means this is the column name. Let's change the second one also as column name, that is name row. Now third is just a dash, which is not a row value. So what we'll do, we'll just say ignore this particular row and load the data. Now when you click on refresh, you can see the type has changed for all these columns. Earlier, all were string. Right now, the date has changed to date and time. Before and after have changed to real values, like that. Okay. Now you can see that the data table is in correct format. So you can just click on OK to load the data. Okay. Now again, in add data to analysis, there are certain options which are again advanced topic. So we won't be exploring them right now. Just click on OK to load the data into Spotfire. As you can see, immediately the data and analysis flyout opens, where you can see the loaded data table and the columns of that data table categorized in different categories. Okay, so this is how you can import data from TXT and CSV. Now let's say if we are importing the data from an Excel sheet. Okay, this is an Excel file. Now in Excel file, the data is already in tabular format. So the separated character and changing the type of the column, all these things are not required. But what is required is any Excel file has workbook, and one workbook has different worksheets. So if you have multiple worksheets in your Excel file, it provides you with a drop down where you can select the worksheet with which you want to work. So just click on the worksheet that you want to load and click OK. So this is how, what you can do, you can import data from different sources in Spotfire. And whenever you are importing a locally stored data, it provides you with an import settings dialog. Next is natural language query. Now, how natural language query works in Spotfire is, you can open it either by using the option explore by searching, okay, or you can directly click on the find icon from the menu bar. Okay, now here, how you perform natural language query? By providing in the column names. Okay, you need to be aware of the column names in a data table to use this particular feature. That is all. So let's say if you have data, I have a data table which has budget and spend for a particular project with a project name defined by manager, importance, risk, etc. etc. Now I want to see the budget and spend over a project, the comparison of budget and spend over a project. So what I'll do, what I can do is, instead of, because I'm not sure which visualization I should use, what I can do, I can just click on explore by searching and type in the column names. Now what Spotfire is doing for me, it is providing me recommendations based on the query that I have written. As a query, I am providing the column names, spend and budget. And what Spotfire is doing, it is selecting a particular data table on which these columns are available and providing me an option of these different types of visualizations. Scatter plot, bar chart. Now I can just click and select the visualization that I feel is best suitable or best displaying the results that I want to portray. Just click on it to add. So this particular visualization, what it is doing? It is showing me, the scatter plot is showing me the comparison of budget and spend for the different projects. Okay, so this is how you can use natural language query. Next is table visualization. Okay, table visualization is the most basic visualization in Spotfire. It is used basically to display the data table that is important to Spotfire in the form of rows and columns. That's it. Okay, but you can perform a lot of formatting in this table visualization. So let's go to the tool and see what are the different things that we can do. Inserting a table visualization is really easy. Just go to the visualization types flyout and click on table to add it to the current page. Okay, and what you can do using the legend, Okay. Using the legend, you can change the table that you want to display in this particular table visualization. Okay. Then if you want to access the direct formatting options, just click on the header of a particular column. Left click, no right click. Okay. Now here you can see there are various options available. The first one is to sort uh, the data table or the table visualization using this particular column. So when you click on this, what is happening right now? What I have done, I have selected customer ID. Okay, I've clicked on customer ID. So if I click on sorting for ascending or descending, so the table visualization will be sorted based on this particular column in ascending order. You'll be able to see this particular icon next to it. Okay. Then if you want to change the size width, right now you cannot see the column name, and if you want to do it, what you can do, you can either manually provide the column width, or you can just say size to fit. Okay. Next is you can move your columns based on your requirement, on based on the priority, which column do you want to see first, which you don't. What you can do, you can either use move first and move last, or you can simply drag and drop. Click and drag and drop. Okay. Next is you can change the formatting of the header, changing the alignment, left, right, center, top, bottom, or middle, changing the orientation of the text, vertical or horizontal. You can also change the text color, the background color. Let's say if we change the text color. Okay, so what is happening right now when you are changing the text color or the background color, okay, making it bold or italic or anything, this is being applied to all the columns. Now if you want to style a header individually, what you have to do, just click on this option. Okay. Then you can also format the value columns or the rows of the column data table visualization, change the alignment, change the color of the text, the background color, etc., etc., all these things. You can also hide a column by clicking on hide column. This, by using this option, hide column, this only hides the column from this table visualization. The column is not deleted from this table. Okay, you can go to data analysis flyout and confirm that the product number still exists. It is just hidden from this table visualization because it was not required to be placed here or to be seen here. Okay. Apart from that, if you want to access more customization, you can just click on the properties dialog. When you hover over to the legend area, just click on the settings button, and in the appearance, you'll be able to see some more options, changing the header row height, data row height. Okay, this is how you can change it, changing the number of rows and columns. So what are frozen columns? When you scroll from left to right to in a data table, uh, okay, when you scroll from left to right, these two columns right now, the first two columns are frozen. Okay, uh, if we remove these, what will happen? The first two columns are hidden along when we are scrolling towards the right. So if you want to freeze those columns for reference, what we can do, just change the number of frozen columns. Okay, then you can show cell borders and different number of settings. You can apply coloring, change the columns that you want to display in the data table, etc. Okay, let's go to coloring and see a little bit of this. So you can perform coloring to each column in this table visualization. Okay, so different coloring options are provided by Spotfire based on the type of the column, if it is numeric or categorical. So if it is, let's say, a categorical column like order status has fixed values. Okay, delivered, in process, late delivery, and shipped. Okay, these four values. So this is a categorical column, a column that has string values. For this, the color mode provided are fixed and unique values. So for fixed, you have one color for all of them. If you select unique values, it will pick 4 different colors for all the 4 unique values in this particular column. Okay. Now, if you select a numeric column, let's say order amount, now the color mode changes. You have 4 options: fixed, unique values, gradient, and segment. Okay. With fixed, you have one color for all the values. Okay. And for unique values, it will give you one color for each unique value. Okay. Then for gradient, what happens? The color changes gradually from minimum to maximum value. You can also add points here. You can change the points to different aggregation options or provide custom expression. You can change the coloring from here as well, like that, to display the min, average, and max. Okay. Now the second is segments. What happens when we are using segment? Instead of gradually changing the value from minimum to maximum, it segments or divides the coloring. So between min and average, all the values will be in light blue, and between average to max, all the values will be in red, like that. So these are the different types of color modes that you can use in Spotfire. Next is bar chart. So any chart in Spotfire or anywhere uses 2 types of axes. Okay, x-axis and y-axis. Now, x-axis is also referred to as categorical axis, and y-axis is also referred to as continuous axis. Now, in a bar chart, the x-axis has to be selected as a categorical variable, like this, to display the bars thick, to display the grouping of data. Okay. And the y-axis is selected as a continuous variable, a numeric variable, where you can provide the aggregation. You can display the aggregation of that particular um, continuous variable over the categorical variable. Okay. Now you can insert bar chart in different ways. Let's directly go to the tool and see. Okay, so you can insert the bar chart directly from visualization types flyout. Okay, or you can use natural language query to insert, that is a recommendation from Spotfire to insert the bar chart. Okay, now the x-axis here is set as order status, or let's say we change it to product category or product category 2, like that. Okay, and the y-axis is selected as a continuous column with some aggregation. You can change the aggregation from this drop down, sum, average, count. These aggregation options are all inbuilt in Spotfire. Apart from that, you can edit the expression to create your own aggregation methods. Okay, so this is how you can create a bar chart. Apart from that, you can use different options. We'll see right now how we can do that. Okay, so this is a vertical bar chart. Okay, now there are different types of bar charts that you can create in Spotfire. You can create horizontal bar chart, and it's really easy to do. What you have to do, just right click on this bar chart and select. As you can see, it is by default selected as vertical bars with stacked bars. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to change it to horizontal bars, like this. Okay, so this is how you can create a horizontal bar. Now let's say you want to create multi bars, a bar chart with multi bars. So how you can do that? You can either select more than one variables or columns in the x-axis, or you can use color by. Let's say we'll do this. We'll select product category 1 and product category 2. So right now what is it doing? It is showing me multiple bars for the sum of order amount separately for product category 1, and then over that product category 2. Okay, now we can also apply color by to this. Let's say we'll color by customer gender, like that. Now here you can see all these bars are displaying all these bars are displaying for product category 2, for let's say for clothing, kids, menswear, women's wear, etc, etc. And on top of that, it is displaying the sum of order amount separately for male and female. Okay, now what you can do right now, these are all stacked bars, one over another. Now what you can do, right click on this. By default it is selected as stacked bars. You can also change it to side by side bars. Okay, now you can see the comparison of female and male for kids clothing, for men's wear, for women's wear, like that. Now if you want to display the values along with this, just go to the properties for the bar chart, and you can use labels to display labels. Okay, so this is how you can create a side by side bar, stacked bar. Okay, and also 100% stacked bar. Let's say if we change it to 100% stacked bar. Okay, now all the bars are going to be 100%. Okay, but the difference will be in the percentage or the value. So that we have already seen. You can just go to the labels. Okay, remove the complete bar because all are in 100%, and you can display the bar segments. For male, the value is this. For the female, the value is higher, like that. So either you can display value or you can display percentage. Okay, so these are the different types of bar charts that you can create. Okay, vertical bars, horizontal bars, multiple bars, side by side, 100% stacked and stacked bars. Okay, auto binning. So right now what we have seen, if you want to create, a bar chart, the x-axis has to be, in a categorical variable, a string variable. Why do we need that? So we can group the data values, the sum of order amount, the aggregated order amount. We can group this value and display it as a bar. Okay, now let's say if you want to use a continuous variable instead of this categorical variable, let me just change it to vertical bar first. Okay, so what you can do, first we'll go and select, let's say, product number. Okay, now product number is a continuous variable because it has numeric values. Now you can see when you are selecting a product number, a continuous variable, the bars are not displayed thicker, they are thinner because each bar is representing each particular unique value in that particular column, that is product number. Now if you want to display thick bars here, what you can do, you can use the feature auto bin. Just right click and say auto bin column. What this auto binning is doing, it is binning the values together, that is creating a group of values. Okay, how you can define how much grouping do you want? You can either use this slider. When you click on auto bin, this slider is provided. You can scroll to define how many bins do you want, or double click on this slider, and here you can type in manually and tell that how many bins do you want. Let's say we want 10, and then click on OK. So you can change the number of bins here. What binning is doing, it is grouping a number of variable values together in this particular column, that is product number. It is grouping or binning them together into the number of bins that you are providing to display thick bars for this bar chart. Okay. Next is line chart. Now, line charts are used to display trends over a specific time period. Okay, that means the x-axis column is taken as a date column, and the y-axis will be a numerical field with some aggregation. Or it can be used to display patterns across variables. In that case, the x-axis is selected as stored location with y-axis as a numeric variable with some aggregation. Okay, now let's go and see directly in the tool how we can create. Okay, now here as you can see, a line chart has been created. Now when you insert a line chart, by default what Spotify does, it always takes the x-axis as a date column, always. That means it is it's mainly used to display trend over time, okay, with some numeric column as the y-axis. So you can change that. Okay, so the y-axis is taken as, the x-axis is taken as a date column, and the y-axis is taken as a numerical column with some aggregation. Okay, now you have different variables that you can use to display multiple lines in a line chart. Right now it is a single line which is displaying the trend of sum of order total amount of purchases over this time period. Okay, now what we can do, you can use either line by variable or color by variable to display multiple lines. Let's say we'll select first line by variable and we'll display using store number or customer ID. Oh, sorry. Departments shopped. Okay, so this line by now this particular line chart is showing multiple lines for different departments, department IDs. Okay, now again, if you want to increase the number of lines, you can use color by variable. Okay, let's say we'll select stored location. Now for different stored locations and different line by variable and different departments shopped, the number of lines have increased. So the number of lines depends upon line by variable into color by variable. The total number of columns in the departments shopped into or multiplied by total number of columns in store location. It will be like that. Okay, so this is how you can display multiple lines. Now if you want to display step lines, go to the line properties and say draw as step lines. Okay, you can change the line width, you can change the transparency of the line, you can show markers here, you can decide the marker size. Okay, and different other options. So this is how you can create a line chart. Okay. Now date and time in Spotfire. As we have seen, in line chart by default it takes the date, and you can see there is a scroll bar provided with this particular date column. And when we scroll from left to right or right to left, it is changing from year to month and then month to day of month, like that. So let's go and see what exactly is happening. For all the date columns, date and time columns in Spotfire, what it does, it provides us with different options to aggregate or to bin or group the data, to display the data. You have single options like year, quarter, month, week, day of year, day of month, day of week, or you have hierarchies, okay, where they are displayed like this with a scroll bar. So you can move from day of month to month and from month to year, like that. Okay, so you have different options available here from the hierarchies that you can select: year, year, quarter, month, year, quarter, day, month, and day of month, like that. And you can scroll in the single visualization to display or to view the trend or pattern over the time period, whether you wanted over month, over day of month, quarter, or year, like that. So in a single visualization, you can have multiple views by using this particular hierarchy type of the date. Next is scatter plot. So scatter plot is basically used to examine the correlation between any two continuous variables. Okay, let's go and see how we can create it. Okay. Simply click on the visualization types flyout and select scatter plot to insert a scatter plot, or use a natural language query or recommendation engine by Spotfire to insert a scatter plot. Okay, now you can use two different continuous columns to see the comparison or the correlation between those two columns. Like in this data table, I'm using the purchase of electronics and furniture to see the correlation of the purchase patterns between these two departments, electronics and furnitures. So this is the correlation. Okay, and also I can see that certain customers who have not purchased so much in electronics, but they have made a huge amount of purchase in the furniture. Okay, so these are outliers which are coming out of the regular pattern, buying too much in furniture but less in electronics. Similarly, too much of purchase amount in electronics but less in furniture, like that. So you can discover outliers and you can view the correlation in a single visualization in the scatter plot. Now in scatter plot, you have various number of variables that you can configure to configure your scatter plot. Okay, the first thing is marker by variable. The marker by variable sets the total number of markers. So these data points that you can see in this visualization, these are all called as markers. Okay, so you can define which column do you want to use to display these markers from here. So by default, it always takes row number, or if you have an ID column, you can select customer ID or the ID column that is provided in the data table. Okay, then you have color by variable. Right now it's already been configured as store location. You can also change it to, let's say, gender. Okay, so the blue ones represent the female and the red ones represent the male, like that. Then you can configure shape by variable for these markers. You can define shape by, let's say, we'll select store location. So for Boston location, all the squares are for Boston, circles for Los Angeles, like that. So different shapes define different locations, store locations. Similarly, you can use size by variable. Let's say we select customer age. Okay, now for any customer who is less than 11 years of age will be lesser than this size, and any that is above 80 will be more than this particular size. So based on the size, you can guess the age of this particular customer. Okay, so these are the different variables that you can use to customize the scatter plot. If you want to access more, just click on the properties of the scatter plot and go to the appearance. Here again, you can change the transparency, you can change the size by, shape by, the color by variable. You can provide labels to this. You can provide tooltip, all these things. So these are the different options that you can use to customize a scatter plot. Next is marking. Okay, now marking in Spotfire is basically selecting a subset of data. Okay, now let's go to the tool and see how we can perform marking. Okay, now there are different ways of marking data in Spotfire. Simply selecting any value. Let's say this is a table. So if I'm selecting this row by clicking on it, by left clicking on it, this is marking. Okay, and selecting a line, a single line, this is marking. Now, if you want to select multiple lines, just click on control button and select multiple lines like that. Okay, so this is how you can select multiple elements in any visualization. Okay, then if you want to select multiple elements randomly, just click and draw a rectangle. Just click and draw a rectangle like that. Okay, so this is a third way of selecting. Now, if you have selected some pattern using drawing a rectangle and you want to add some more points, then just click on control button and then left click. Okay, and then the last method is called as lasso marking. In lasso marking, what exactly happens right now when we are clicking and dragging, this is a rectangular pattern in which you are able to mark the elements. Apart from that, if you want to mark the elements in a random pattern, just click on Alt and Control at the same time. Okay, sorry, just click on Alt at the same time and start drawing the pattern in which you want to select the elements like this. This is called as lasso marking. Now, if you want to add more elements to it, just click on control button and keep on adding the marking to it. Okay, so these are the different ways in which you can perform marking. So what is happening? We are just selecting a subset of data by marking these elements in visualizations. This is one of the interactivity that you can do with the Spotfire visualizations. Now, when we are marking this data, we can use this particular marking in various ways. This marking can be reflected throughout the document. Let's say, if we are selecting this particular line or marking this particular line in this line chart, okay, the data table used for this line chart is this particular data, TIBCO Megamart. Okay, now, sorry. Now, when you go to a different page where the same data table has been used, like in this scatter plot, the data table that is used is TIBCO Megamart. Okay, so here you can see some of the marker points are marked. Okay, why? Because marking is propagated throughout the document. Now, if you're marking some elements in a different visualization, whether it is in a different page, but the data table used in both the visualizations is same, the marking is, it relates these visualizations. Okay, when you mark some data in one, it is marked in the another visualization. Okay, so what you can do, you can perform marking like this, and you can relate visualizations using marking. Apart from that, there is an advanced topic like relating the visualizations based on marking. Okay, so what happens, you can relate visualizations in a way like drilling down. Right now we have 3 visualizations in this particular page. You have a map chart and 2 other visualizations, but these 2 visualizations are empty right now. Okay, now when we mark some data in this particular map chart, we can see that this particular tree map is now populated with data after performing the marking in the map chart. Similarly, if you mark some data in this tree map, you'll be able to see that this combination chart is populated. Okay, why? Because we have performed some customization to create a relation between these visualizations. So when you perform some marking in the map chart, only then you can view the data or populate this particular tree map. And when you are performing marking in this map chart and in this tree map both, then only you can view some data in this combination chart. So this is how you can establish relations using marking. So you can save a marking either using the document properties or in the visualization properties, you have a data tab where you can create new markings and select the marking for that particular visualization. Like for this visualization, what you can do, click on the properties, right click. Okay, when you go to the data section, here you can see which marking has been used for this particular visualization. Okay, or you can create a new marking, and you can see that the data is limited for this particular visualization using this blue marking, like that. Okay, so you can save and use these markings in different visualizations in different pages across the document. Next is filtering. Filtering is again, a way to select a subset of data. Okay. Like in marking, what we were doing, we were directly interacting with the visualization to select a subset of data in which we were interested. When we are using filtering, what we do, we use the filters panel. Just click on this icon to open the filters panel. Okay, and here if you have multiple data tables, you can just use these icons to hide and show the particular data table that you're interested in to filter the data. Let's expand order details. Okay, now you can see different filter types have been assigned by Spotfire for all the columns in this particular data table, depending upon the type of the column. Order ID is an ID column, so a range filter has been provided to it. For customer ID, a text filter has been provided. Okay, now for order amount, again a range filter has been provided. For order status, which is a categorical variable, a checkbox filter has been provided. So if you want to change a particular filter type, just right click on that particular filter type, column filter in the filters panel, and change the filter type from here. Okay, here you can see the list of all the different filter types that are provided by Spotfire: range filter, item, checkbox, radio button, text, list box, etc. Okay, so different, always remember that Spotfire by default assigns a filter type to all the columns in the data table for that particular data table. Okay, so these are all column filters which you can change by right clicking in the in the filters panel and selecting the filter type from here. You can also you can also hide the filter if it is not required. You can sort the filters in ascending or descending order, and you can organize the filters. These are organizing the filters and everything is an advanced topic, so it's covered in an advanced course. Okay, so now applying the filtering. Let's say if you want to display the order amount or the data which has orders above 10,000, so you can either scroll through this range filter and select go to 10,000, or you can directly left click, double click on this order amount and type in 10,000. Okay, so all the values right now in this visualization, you can see the filtering has been performed. Also in the summary bar, you can see 1018 of 2000 rows are now displayed. Apart from that, whatever filters you are applying will always be displayed at the bottom of the filters panel, like this. So for this particular data table, it will display the data table name for which filter has been applied and the filter that has been applied. That means order amount between 10,000 and 20,000. Let's say if we want to display the categories only for clothing. Again, you can see, so right now two filters are applied: order amount and product category 1. Like that, if you only want to display, let's say, women's wear, so here in product category 2, you can uncheck all the other options apart from women's wear. So you can see 3 filters has been applied. All the filters are displayed at the bottom of the filters panel. Now, if you want to remove one of the filters, what you can do, just click on the cross button. And if you want to remove all the filters altogether, just click on this reset filters icon, reset all filters. Okay, so this is how you can use filtering in Spotfire. Now, filtering can also be accessed using data and analysis flyout. So just go to the data analysis flyout, and when you mouse over towards over a column, you'll be able to see this show filter icon. When you click on this, you'll be able to see the filters over here. So whatever filtering you will perform will be reflected here. And you can also see the filter that has been applied is also displayed at the bottom of the data in analysis flyout along with the filters panel. Okay. Now using filters through text area, setting up custom filters is an advanced topic again. We have seen the different types of filters already, and how we can reset or remove the filters individually or reset them all together. Okay. Next is exporting data. Now you can export data from Spotfire in two ways. Okay, you can either export from specific visualizations. You cannot export data from all the visualizations. Okay, so these are the particular visualizations which you can use to export data from: table visualization, summary table, cross table, graphical table. Details on demand again is a type of table. So all the different tables here you can see are providing the option to export the data from. Okay, all these visualizations are of type table basically. The next option is to directly export from the data table. Now when you are exporting from data table, you have these different options available. You can either export all the data. Okay, you can export marked data. You have performed certain marking and you want data only for that particular marking that you have performed, so you can select that, or filtered data. Okay, so let's go and see. Just go to the file menu and select export. Now in export, you have all the options to export data or to export visualization. So for data, we have two options: data to file or data to library. So you can either directly export the data to the file or library. Let's say if you say data to file, in export data, you have these visualizations available. You can export data from the map chart, or I think the tree map. Okay, now what kind of data is being exported from these visualizations? The data for marked items, whatever data has been marked. Okay, now if you want to directly export from the data table, what you can do, you can select the data table from here if you have multiple data tables, and then you can select if you want all the rows, filtered rows, or marked rows. When you select marked rows, you can also select the marking if you have multiple markings. Which marking do you want to export the data from? Okay, right now let's remove all the marking and the filters. Okay, and again let's go to export data to file. Sorry. Okay, so now you have now it is showing all rows also has 2000 rows, filtered rows also has 2000 rows, like that. Okay, or if you want to select marked rows, you can again select the marking that you want to use to export the data from. Okay, so this is how you can export data from Spotfire. Now when you click on OK, you can export the data in all these different file formats, that is CSV, TXT, SBDF, that is Spotfire binary data file, or Excel. Okay, these are the different formats in which you can export data from Spotfire. Next is export visualizations. Now, if after creating the analysis, if you have to use that particular analysis in a presentation, instead of directly sharing the analysis, what you can do, you can export the visualizations in different formats: PDF format, PowerPoint, or image. Okay, now let's go to the tool and see. Go to file, say export. Now you can export visualization to image. Okay, it's exported in .png form. You can export it to PowerPoint. So when you select that, you can select the active page, active visualization, all pages, anything that you want to export into the PowerPoint, whether the page or the entire visual or single visualization or the entire document. Okay, plus you can select if you want to use the filter settings, the page title, annotations, etc, etc. Okay, now you can export it to a new presentation, or if you already have a presentation open, then you can select it from here, an open presentation. Select this option. If you have a presentation open, this option will be activated, and then you can export. The next is exporting to PDF. So here you can export your analysis into PDF format. Okay, so you have these different options. You can either export all the pages, specific number of pages, you can define the pages here, the current page, the active visualization. Okay, and you can decide what are the different elements that you want to include while exporting: the page title, page numbers, the date, annotations, the paper size, the orientation of the analysis, landscape or portrait, the proportions, and in more settings you can set the margins as normal, narrow, or none. You can select the image quality in which you want to export, from low to extraordinary. Okay, so this is how you can export to PDF using these different options. Okay. Next is saving. In Spotfire, you can save the analysis either in local file or directly in Spotfire server library. Okay. Now, when you save the analysis in local file, it is saved in the form of .dxp. Okay, the extension is .dxp. Now, when you save the analysis in library, so go to file, you can either save as a file or as a library item. Okay, when you save it as a library item, you can just select the folder where you want to save it and then click on finish. Okay, provide a suitable name to it and then click on finish. Now, when the document is saved into the library, you will be able to see a link that you can share with your colleagues or mates to so that they can access this particular analysis file using this link. So you can copy the link directly from here, and when you open a notepad, you'll be able to see a link with the address to your particular Spotfire server and the analysis file to the library folder where you have saved to the will be provided as a URL. Okay, so this is how you can save to a library. Sorry. Saving to file is easy. Okay, you are provided with different data loading options. Now, all the data tables that have been used to create this particular analysis files will be listed here, and you can select how you want to store the data that has been used to create this analysis with the analysis file. Okay, when you are storing it locally as a file instead of a library item. So here you can see you have these different options available: store data, new data when possible, and always new data. Stored data means this particular data table will be stored with the analysis file. This will increase the Spotfire analysis file size, but if you know that this particular data file will not be available later on, the location will change, you can save it with it. Save it with the analysis file. Okay. The next option is always new data. It means whenever you will open the analysis file, the Spotfire will go and search for this particular data file in the exact location from where it was imported every time you open the file. So it has to be in that particular location all the time. Always new data. Okay, new data when possible means when the data that has been used to create the analysis will be stored with the Spotfire analysis file, but when you open the analysis file, Spotfire will go and search for the original data source once. If it is not able to find, it will load the analysis file with the data that has been stored already. So both the options will be available. the data will be stored with the analysis file, but Spotfire will also go and look for the original data source if available. If it is available, it will reload the data. If it is not available, it will open the analysis file with the stored data. Okay, so these are the different options available to save the data with the analysis. Stored, always new data, and new data when possible. Okay, so in this particular training, we have seen that Spotfire provides an AI-powered search-driven approach to perform analysis and provide results. Spotfire Analyst user interface comprises of different number of flyouts and menus which provide various functionalities that you can use to create and customize your visualizations. Data can be loaded from different sources, whether they are stored locally or from external database systems. We have seen basic Spotfire visualizations like table, bar chart, line chart, and scatter plot. We have seen how we can capture specific data in visualization using marking, and how we can capture data or drill down data, specific data using filters and filters panel. We have also seen how we can export data from Spotfire into various file formats and export visualizations in the form of PDF, PPT, and image. We have seen how Spotfire analysis is saved as a .dxp file when it is saved locally, and Spotfire provides various options to save the data that is used to create the analysis with the analysis file. Okay, so this is all about the session. I hope this session helped, and if you have any questions, I'm not sure if they are answered. Yeah, I think so. So if you have any questions, you can share them now. I think we have some time left.
I think we're good, Studi. It looks like we've got everything done. So thank you so much. And we're going to obviously have this recording. So if you guys want to watch back again, you'll be able to watch it back. And I think they're going to put it on your YouTube. So I think we'll call it a night. Thanks, guys.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.